Boosting bilateral ties with Washington, President Salva Kiir meets the U.S. Ambassador to South Sudan, Susan Page. Fighting Crimes Against Humanity 18-member committee launched to monitor and counter impunity. And finally, pulling Juba out of darkness, Minister of Electricity seeking affordable power generation. Good evening, welcome to Sstv News. I am Kiran with the news in detail. President Kiir Mayardit today held talks with U.S. Ambassador to the country, Susan Page, on bilateral relations between Juba and Washington. Addressing the press after the meeting, the ambassador said the Obama administration has appointed Donald Booth as the new special envoy to both Juba and Khartoum and commended the head of state of appointing a new lean cabinet which will efficiently serve this nation.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Sudan, His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, we discussed the upcoming visit of the new U.S. Special Envoy to South Sudan and Sudan, Ambassador Donald Booth. He will be arriving here in South Sudan next week. We also discussed our ongoing bilateral relations, and I congratulated him on his new cabinet and the meetings that we were holding with the new members of the cabinet to get to know them better. We also discussed Abyei and the situation there, and these are some of the issues that we will be looking forward to discuss when the Special Envoy arrives.
Vice President James Wani-Iga today met a delegation from the SPLM Secretariat in Canada. The team is in the country to give their views on how South Sudan can network with international partners to make the party vibrant and effectively contribute in nation building. The delegation held the VP for his appointment.
Canada, Comrade Joseph Lurie, to bring congratulatory message to His Excellency Comrade James Wani-Iga. We have met briefly and also told him about the jubilation we have had in Canada upon his appointment as Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan. And also I bring with me, along with me, some concerns of the community as well as the SPLM Country Secretariat, concerns such as security situation in Juba, health services, education services, because we strongly believe we in diaspora we could be an asset for a new nation, and we have assets in diaspora that we would like to encourage those assets.
The Minister of Cabinet Affairs, Dr. Martin Lumoro, and his finance counterpart, Agretisa Sabuni, today met the Deputy Representative of the UN Secretary General, Toby Lanza, on the collaboration on the New Deal Compact between the country and the development partner. Lanza said the UN will work closely with the country in areas touching on security, economy and other sectors to improve service delivery to the people of this nation.
Dr. Martin Elia Lomura and his finance counterpart Agretisa Sabuni today held talks with the Deputy Representative of UN Secretary General Toby Lanza on the collaboration on the New Deal Compact between the country and development partner. Lanza said the UN will collaborate with the country in areas touching on security, economic and other sectors to improve service delivery to the citizens of the nation.
Regarding the elaboration of a mutual accountability framework, a New Deal compact between the international community and South Sudan. There have been some very encouraging developments on this front. There have been workshops held recently in 3 of the states. Just today there's one taking place in the state of Western Bahr el Ghazal. There are workshops which are scheduled for the state capitals so that we can listen to members of the cabinets in those states as well as to civil society and bring the message to Juba What is it that people see as the priorities when it comes to development, when it comes to progress here in South Sudan? And then how can we bring this together and work as a team and where the international community is providing support to South.
The minister also met South Sudan Council of Churches led by Bishop Michael Taban. The meeting centering on the council mandate and the challenges they face in their evangelization work. The council promised to work with the government in promoting accountability and good governance.
This morning we have come as a team of the South Sudan Council of Churches leaders to really congratulate the minister and pay a courtesy call, and also we have come to introduce the newborn South Sudan Council of Churches, its structure to a new leaders in this government, and we have started it with the Minister of Cabinet Affairs this morning. We also have come to really pray with the new cabinet leaders so that God can really use them. As a church, our role is really to pray and commit the leaders to God's guidance as they provide leadership in this country.
The minister also held talks with the Cabinet Affairs Minister of Central Equatorial State, Cecilia Tito, on how the national government can cooperate with the state level government for the benefit of this country.
It is a courteous visit for us to improve the working relationship and mutual cooperation between the Cabinet Affairs at the national government and the Cabinet Affairs in Central Equatorial State. We have shared a few things that could help us improve the relationship.
Henry Jada John, South Sudan Television, Juba.
A committee on the prevention of crimes against humanity has been launched in the country. The 18 members National Committee on the Prevention of Punishment, Crimes Against Humanity and Any Form of Discrimination was inaugurated by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Barnaba Marial Benjamin, who challenged members to be vigilant and take proactive approach in alerting the government of any signs of crimes against humanity being committed to fellow citizens in any part of South Sudan.
Taking a proactive role in ensuring no acts of crimes against humanity are committed in South Sudan. To achieve this, 18 members National Committee on the Prevention and Punishment of Crimes Against Humanity and Any Form of Discrimination has been set up. While launching the committee, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Barnaba Marial Benjamin, challenged the members to be vigilant and alert the government of any sign of crimes against humanity being committed to fellow citizens in any part of South Sudan. While applauding the initiative, the minister said many conflicts in the country are based on some underlying factors that must be addressed to deter such criminalities, urging the international partners to join hands with the government in a fight against racial and human discrimination in South Sudan.
National Committee for the Prevention of Genocide and Crimes Against Humanity, the 18 members that we have. Of these 18 members, we will have the chair will be elected. They come from various disciplines within the government and the civil society organization. So we are going to have a chair, and the chair of this national committee will be a member in the regional international conference of the Great Lakes region. I think that's very, very important. But I would advise my national committee, if you elect your chair, don't bring us some politician or something. I'm not dictating, but I thought we need somebody like from Justice or from Human Rights Commission. He will do more work to assist us.
The Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Kwon Manyangjuk, commended the new body, urging them to alert the government to help address such concern.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I think the occasion is very is very good, and that is the inauguration of the National Committee on the Prevention and Punishment of the crimes of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. I think this is the primary responsibility of the government, to see to it that people live in peace, and anything that results to genocide must be prevented, and laws must be applied. Nobody is above the law. As a government, we have a constitution that advocates the right of of citizens to life, and then nobody is above the law. And we are a part of the human family.
UN Special Advisor on Genocide Prevention, Castro Wasama, and the Deputy Executive Secretary of the International Great Lakes Region termed the move a milestone in ensuring the impunity do not reign in the country.
But ICGLR is this one unique regional organization that has got very specific legal and political framework that is looking towards responding to genocide and atrocity crimes. And this is something that as a region you have to be proud about on itself. And the UN really would like to associate itself to say that they are confident to launch their own national mechanisms. And for that, I just call that we clap for ourselves for this significant achievement.
With such measures and many more that are in place, a recent election conducted in Kenya this year were free of violence.
The committee is mandated to identify and inform the government in case there is a sign of atrocity, and coordinate with the Great Lakes region to end crimes against humanity. For Sstv News, Martin J. Gabriel.
The Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Michael Makwe-Luith, is calling on the church to work with the government in spreading the gospel of peace and coexistence in the country. Makwe, who was speaking after meeting members of the South Sudan Council of Churches led by Bishop Michael Taban, said the church forms a critical constituency in the country and is at an advantage position to unite the country.
Pray for us so that God helps us and stands with us to enable us render services to our people, the people of South Sudan who are yearning for services, especially in this area of information and broadcasting. We also exchange views and opinions on the way forward and how best we can cooperate as a ministry with the South Sudan Council of Churches, so that because the main objective of the two institutions, the government and the church, is the service of the people. For that matter, we agreed that we will cooperate in all aspects to ensure that we render services to our people in South Sudan.
On the right of the people of South Sudan. And that's why so if it was only our army fighting, then also the rest of the world would have not known that there is a problem in South Sudan. But through you had an access going to other places that cannot be reached by our movement. But we were able to go there in the name of Lord, because we are people of God, and we had those connections. So we were able to be heard, and today we are proud that our independence did not come because of the gun only.
The objective of this meeting was really to come and pay a courteous call to our ministers, and also to introduce the South Sudan Council of Churches to them, and also to tell them that we will stand with them in prayer, as the role of the church is really to pray for the government. so that we can have peace and tranquility in our society. As a church, we are an institution God created, and we believe also God has created the government, and we need to work together for a better society, a better South Sudan.
The government is in the process of establishing affordable power supply stations to consumers across the country. The Minister of Electricity, Dams, Water Resources and Irrigation, Gemma Kumba, says her ministry is in the process of completing power plants in Yambio, Rumbek, Bor and Wau to cater for consumers in those regions. The minister made the remarks while meeting the Egyptian ambassador to South Sudan, Ayman Gamal, in her office.
The government is now seeking ways of establishing affordable power supply stations to consumers across the country. The Minister of Electricity, Dams, Water Resources and Irrigation, Gemma Kumba, says her ministry is in the process of completing power plants in Yambio, Rumbek, Bor and Wau to cater for consumers in those regions.
Some of which include the 4 power stations in Bor, Rumbek, Wau and Yambio, and talked about how to complete them so that they are able to function, especially the one in Rumbek, so that it can be ready before the next celebration of the third anniversary of the independence, supposed to be Rumbek. Distribution, small distribution centers in Juba and other states. So we will make sure that these projects are completed at least within the next 2 months in some areas in Juba, so that it can supply water.
Speaking after meeting the Egyptian ambassador to South Sudan, Ayman Gamal, in her office, the minister also promised to provide clean water supply to the people of Juba and this country at large. Ambassador Ayman Gamal promised to ensure that the Arab Republic of Egypt continues to train technicians in the country on the electrical field.
Wow Dam, which is supposed to be concluded by December this year. As well, we discussed the boreholes for water, which are being, 4 of them will be finalized by the end of this month.
Reporting for Sstv News, Edith Stephen.
South African ambassador to South Sudan, Gabriel Fimilo, has sponsored 2 students for further studies at Khartoum University. The 2 students, Robert Alberto and Emmanuel Lado, will study aviation and accounts respectively. Speaking while presenting the scholarship, the Minister of Gender and Social Welfare, Awudenga Chwil, commended the envoy for coming into the aid of the orphans, a gesture she said it will turn around their lives. The ambassador said he will assist the 2 to complete their studies.
We have 2 gentlemen here who are orphans who have got admission in Khartoum University, and they couldn't go to school for the last 2 years because there was no fees for them to go to school. But I want to sincerely thank the ambassador because he is able to make a personal contribution to these children, and is paying for school fees for them for a whole year for them to join the university in Khartoum. One is doing aviation, the other one is doing accounting in the university in Khartoum. And I must say I am very, very grateful that Comrade Ambassador is able to make this contribution to the services of South Sudanese, and which in turn they will serve this country.
كان أكيد يعني لحد هسه لسه ما قلنا له طريقة التعليم، يعني هسه جماعات في كارتوم قبلونا هناك، لكن في النهاية ما في زول ريسبونسبل المسؤول عشان نمشي نشيل نتواصل مع التعليم. لكن عندنا نشكر ربنا من حاجة الوزارة للوزيرة لقيني بالكويس، ده أجيلي بالكويس الباقي رجوع بشار السودان. كان أنا بتمنى إن بيصير كهرباء وقف كهرباء ذاته لسه ما إنا براو في باقي ناس كتير.
Also to wish the 2 comrades the best in their studies, and we just discussed with the minister that we would hate a situation whereby at some stage within the 2nd year when they're supposed to go back to school, they don't go back to school. they've absconded, and we hold them accountable. That they go to Khartoum, prove themselves that they are the lucky ones to have been sponsored to go to school amongst so many of our children in South Sudan. So I would like to congratulate them for being appointed, and also the minister for the work that she's doing, that she's faced with. But hopefully the like-minded comrades in South Sudan who represent the different countries will come on board to come and assist, especially for the development of the youth, children, and people.
A technical committee formed to evaluate the viability of all projects funded by the Chinese Exim Bank today held a meeting chaired by the Chief Administrator in the Office of the President, Ma Ying-wol. According to Wol, the meeting was to review the project's costs according to needs and priorities of the people of this country. The committee will forward its recommendations to the Ministerial Committee for further deliberations.
Of Exim Bank. The idea is to scrutinize them such that we look at their costing, whether they are properly costed. We look at their whether they are projects that are of our interest, they are priority, they are serving our people. All this we have discussed with the members of the technical committee. And this technical committee is a technical committee which is supposed to look at the projects, and then after we look at those projects, then we send them to his ministerial committee.
Thousands of people have been displaced by the ongoing floods across the country. Areas that have been worst hit include Northern Barghazal, Unity, Upper Nile, Warab, Western Barghazal and Jonglei states. The Relief and Rehabilitation Commission have joined force with other stakeholders in the humanitarian sector to assist the victims.
Thousands of people has been displaced by the ongoing floods across the country, with the areas worst hit include Northern Barghazal, Unity, Upper Nile, Warab, Western Barghazal and Jonglei states. The chairperson of Relief and Rehabilitation Commission, Peter Lambov, said the Council of Ministers has already approved 7 million South Sudanese pounds to assist the floods victims.
I've been working very hard in the 6 states that I have just mentioned, with our local humanitarian and international partners to respond to some of the devastation that has taken place in the states that I have indicated. 2 days ago, I sent a team from here to Warab State, headed by our Director for Food Security, and with the Deputy Head of UN OCHA, to see for themselves the kind of damage that has been caused as a result of flood.
The Commission is working with other stakeholders to provide humanitarian assistance to affected states, and that it will provide non-food items to the affected people of Warab State.
When a disaster strikes, or cattle rustling, or conflict, the first thing you do is to conduct an assessment, a thorough assessment to determine the level of damage that has been caused as a result of a disaster, and then you determine what type of response is necessary. As I said before, our state, and particularly our county offices, are the first ones who will provide the reports of what 5,800.
With the help of other stakeholders in the sectors, the Commission is now conducting a comprehensive assessment of the affected populace to ascertain the true number. Reporting for Sstv News in Juba, I am Henry Jada John.
The governor of Western Barghazal State, Rizik Zakaria, has fired the mayor of Wau, Michael Geba, and his deputy, Captain Camille Wana Orach. In their places, the governor appointed Arcangelo Anyar as mayor and Colonel Anthony Charles as the deputy, and instructed the State Minister of Finance, Trade and Industry to take note of the new changes.
Zakaria Rizik has sacked the mayor of Wau, Michael Gaeba, and his deputy captain, Camille Wana Orach. In their places, the governor appointed Arcangelo Anyar as a mayor and Colonel Anthony Charles has a deputy instructing the State Minister of Finance, Trade and Industry to take note of the new changes. The governor also constituted his cabinet of 9 ministers, a move that is in line with the national government policy of downsizing the government and saving resources for national development. Rizik also opened a 2-day forum on the revised 2013-2014 budget. The governor urged the participants to scrutinize the budget carefully and make their contribution.
We share the essence of the most challenging aspect in the whole nation, which is security. This is the second principle to consider it. Without having peace, stability, with high rate of insecurity, we will not be in position to develop this country. This is the second principle. We should consider it as one of the top priorities.
Elsewhere, the Deputy Governor of Northern Bahr el Ghazal State, Salfa Chol, called on companies undertaking the construction in the state to do quality work and ensure that such roads in future withstand their floods.
So this special visit is congratulated and is good for us, especially those of Marial Bay up to Raja. In this visit, I want to tell our brothers wherever are aware to know that their company, Africa Kongdai Company, is a company started since years ago, and it is our indigenous company which can help a lot. It is not the first time for him or for it to start here in Will West County. It is started long time ago in Warrap, and even now is the one working from Will Raja. That visit, His Excellency the President has promised 2 projects to the Ayad community. One is Morwell Bridge, and it is completed now. Morwell, Marialbai and Nyamlel are being connected by the bridge donated by the President. Another project is Ayad Raja Road. Ayad Raja Road was promised by His Excellency President to connect Marialbai and Raja.
For Sstv, Alek Malakayan.
A non-governmental organization involved in democratic governance is calling on the government to curb the rising cases of insecurity in the country, with special emphasis on rape of young girls and murders. The chairperson of South Sudan Network for Democracy and Election, Launch Rat, says the perpetrators of such heinous acts continue to roam freely in the country, continuing their beastly acts with impunity.
Involved in a democratic governance wants the government to curb the rising cases of insecurity in the country, especially rape of young girls and murders which go unresolved. The chairperson of South Sudan Network for Democracy and Elections, Luan Road, says the perpetrators of such heinous acts continue to roam to the country freely and continuing their beastly acts with impunity. Yet the law of enforcers watch helplessly.
Sunde is an acronym stand for South Sudanese Network for Democracy and Elections, which ideally been already explained by my colleague Elizabeth Henry. It has a presence in all the 10 states of the Republic. Today we are here to issue a statement to urge our governments to improve security, peace and human rights situation in the country.
Road is now recommending the trial of all suspect Sstv legislations to deal with insecurity in the country. Hence, the police patrols and adopting a coordinated approach for community policy, among other issues.
6 days today, we have an activities which is the General Assembly meeting and the CD training, which is ahead in all 10 states in Southern Sudan. I think this is my pure remarks. I let everybody know, and thank you.
The lobby group applauded the President for putting a land cabinet which serve of public resources for development. Reporting for Sstv News, I'm Emmanuel Malwan.
That's all we have for you today. Wishing you all the best for the week.
بلد عظيم بلد أخضر جنوب السودان شعب كريم أرض مسلم جنوب السودان بلد عظيم بلد أخضر جنوب السودان شعب كريم أرض مسلم
جنوب وطني أنا بهيب ومطوق البطاي وطني جنوب بلدي أنا بهيب ومطوق البطاي بلدي جنوب وطني أنا بهيب ومطوق البطاي كلنا دلم ودولة لنا ماما دولة الدنيا كل متنة كلنا دلم ودولة لنا يقواني
مشاهدينا الأفاضل في كل مكان، أهلا ومرحبا بكم في برنامج